than others. It's not a day when there are some restraints on how we are to behave. It's a day when we glorify God, when we focus on what Christ has done for us. It's a day when you look at the most important reality in your life, and that is your salvation.
Welcome to this midweek edition of Grace to You with John MacArthur. Perhaps you've seen the movie Chariots of Fire or heard Eric Little's story. During the 1924 Olympics, Little dropped out of the 100-meter sprint, his best event, because the race was being held on a Sunday. So here's the question. Was Little's decision a personal conviction, or was it a matter of obedience to Scripture? The decision every believer would have to make if they were literally in his shoes. Bottom line, is working, traveling, or enjoying leisure activities on Sundays forbidden in the Bible? John MacArthur is helping answer the question today as he continues the series, The Sabbath and Why We Worship on Sunday. Here's John MacArthur.
One of the things that we need to understand is the importance of worship, and we, in looking at the importance of worship, want to understand how Sunday fits into that, how the Lord's Day fits into that. And I have been a lot of places in the globe in my lifetime. I have been as far away as Kazakhstan in Central Asia, and the believers there worship on Sunday. They always have worshiped on Sunday, and they continue today to worship on Sunday. I've been many times to the UK, to England, Ireland, Scotland, and the believers there worship on Sunday. I've been to Belarus. Believers there meet on Sunday. And other countries in the former Soviet Union, Russia, the Ukraine, believers meet on Sunday. They meet on Sunday in India. They meet on Sunday in China. They meet on Sunday in the Philippines. They meet on Sunday in New Zealand, Australia. They meet on Sunday all throughout South America. They meet on Sunday even in Israel. How did this happen? Why don't they all meet on different days? Why don't some of them meet on Thursday and some of them on Tuesday and some on Wednesday and others on Saturday? It's always been this way. And it's always been this way across the length and breadth of the whole of the Christian church historically. And I remember this was a bit of a burden to me in my childhood, because there were people who put all kinds of strictures on Sunday. Everybody met on Sunday. And when I was a little kid, they dressed me up in this little suit and put a little white shirt on me and clipped a little bow tie and made me stay that way the whole day, all of Sunday. And I remember there were very strong restrictions put upon what I could do. I couldn't go out of the house. I couldn't play catch in the yard. I couldn't play ball. When we lived in Philadelphia, I couldn't play step ball, which was the big thing to do on the steps of the row houses there. We just had to sit there. The one sin we could commit, and we could commit that like crazy, was gluttony. It was one long meal. We got out of church at about 12:30, and we went home and ate until we went back at night. But it was supposed to be a day when everything sort of came to a grinding halt, and we set it aside for contemplation of the Lord, reading of Scripture, reading of Bible stories, reading of Christian books or theology, talking about the things of the Lord, and most importantly, bracketing the day in the morning and the evening with the worship at the church, and throw in Sunday school and maybe youth group before Sunday night, and it filled up the day. It was pretty much the way it was across the nation, across the United States of America. I remember when I came to Grace Community Church in 1969, there was only one mall in the San Fernando Valley, and it was never open on Sunday. Never open on Sunday. Neither was anything else open on Sunday. Stores were all closed. There were no organized events on Sunday. There were no sports for kids on Sunday. There were no planned activities in the community on Sunday. There actually were laws against that, laws passed by states and by governments. And then eventually Sunday became like Saturday with very little difference. But for literally centuries, Sunday worship and fellowship among Christians worldwide was the habit of the church. And you could ask the question, is this simply arbitrary? Did it just kind of happen that way? It'd be pretty hard to sell somebody on that idea. Since you have all these different countries, all these different languages, and all these different centuries, and it's an unbroken pattern. How did it get started? Who started it? And why are we still conducting services on Sunday? And why do we still have a kind of a deference to Sunday in a 5-day work week that ends on Friday? Did this just happened by accident? Well, many churches have begun to whittle away at Sunday. This in the last 25 years or so. They have reduced Sunday to a 1-hour, non-intrusive experience you can have on your way to the beach in your bathing suit if you want. They have minimized Sunday down to this 1 hour that you can get out of the way, and in order to accommodate people who don't even want to dent Sunday with that, they accommodate that with a Saturday night service. You can go to the Saturday night service, and you don't have to pay any attention to Sunday whatsoever. So you can have the whole day at the beach, and you can do the Saturday night service at night when it's dark and you can't go outside and play anyway. This is typical of the contemporary trend. And people seem to make very little difference between whether people gather on a Saturday or a Sunday. It doesn't seem to be an issue. There are lots of folks who would like to leave Sunday completely free for games, recreation, and going to the mall or wherever else they want to go. And throwing in a Saturday night service that just takes a little while seems to accommodate them readily. Well, does it really matter? Is it important for us to do this on Sunday? Couldn't we just as well do it any other day or every other day? Go to Colossians 2 for a minute. We're just going to follow through some scriptures, and I'll kind of let you draw the conclusion. Colossians 2:16, therefore no one is to act as your judge in regard to food or drink or in respect to a festival or a new moon or a Sabbath day, things which are a mere shadow of what is to come, but the substance belongs to Christ. Remember what I told you last time about the Sabbath day? It is gone, right? It is gone. So whatever we're talking about on Sunday, we're not talking about the Sabbath. The Sabbath was the seventh day of the week. It was instituted under the Mosaic law between the fall of man and Moses. There were no Sabbath laws. There was no Sabbath observance. That came in the Mosaic law. Centuries went by. None of the patriarchs had any kind of Sabbath laws. On the seventh day after creation, remember, God rested and God blessed that day. Why? As a day that would always be a memorial to the fact that God had created the universe in 6 days. So the seventh day was always going to be a reminder of God as our Creator. Every Saturday that comes along, which is the seventh day of the week, Sunday being the first day of the week, every Saturday that comes along is a good day for us to remember, first of all, God as Creator. And we have that in our heritage. That's why people didn't work on the weekend, because Saturday could be a day when you could enjoy the creation, when you could have recreation. You didn't have to go to work. This was all a Christian kind of structure. You could go out and take your family and have a picnic or play a ball game or enjoy the outside.